I'm out in the redwood forest today in Northern California. Apparently we're surrounded by trees that are like 2,000 years old out here, which is kind of inconceivable, but I can kind of believe it just by looking at it. And what I want to talk to you about today is what I like to call long game motivation. This is a little bit different than the type of motivational videos that you might be accustomed to, like, reaching an immediate goal or immediate couple of goals. But rather with long game motivation, we rethink motivation, not in terms of what it means to get an immediate win, but rather what it means to have an arc of winning throughout your entire life. Wow. Yeah, that's working. It's totally unframeable. This is unbelievable. I want to move here. Can we get a Tinder greens in here? Holy shit, that's tall. Okay, so this is definitely one of the coolest places I've ever been in my entire life. I thought I would start the video a little bit unconventionally up on this log, and I'll zoom in a little bit later. And I also thought that I would start the video by reading some passages out of one of my all-time favorite books, Hannibal and Me. This is a book written by a guy named Andreas Kluth. I think it's brilliant. I'd urge you to go pick up a copy of it. And the basic gist of it is how, again, like we talked about, life is not just thought of as a series of immediate victories, but rather looking at a successful life over the long term. And interestingly, as a side note before I crack into it, in the same way that Andreas Kluth's video or book wouldn't become super popular, I would bet, just because there's not a lot of people that are thinking that far ahead, okay, with newbies that just want instant techniques. There's a lot of people that buy those books. With videos that I've created, like how to talk to a girl a lot, those videos are very popular. This video maybe won't be super popular because there's less people on the level to be thinking about this long-term stuff. But regardless, I think it's amazing. I want to encourage you to think about it. And so, like I said, we'll start off by reading some passages here. So I just wanted to jump in the video to let you know that I'm actually out here today on the beach, practicing what I preach, doing all the things that I tell you to do in these videos. I don't just do seminar videos where I tell you that you should work on your social skills. I go out and I meet and talk to people all the time. Now, as I'm out here doing this, here's what's funny. I've got students that are out here with me watching exactly what it is that I do, and they're kind of blown away by it. But then what I'm doing that I think is blowing them away even more is I'm showing them exactly how to do it so they can get the exact same result. Now imagine for everybody that's out here, for the rest of their lives, if they want to make a business connection, they want to network, they want to make friends, they want to work on making a genuine connection with someone very, very special, they know exactly what to do forever and ever because we came out here and did this work. Well, here's the thing. This work is not for everybody. You've got to be a very, very special kind of person to have what it takes to come out here and do this. You've got to be an action taker. You've got to be somebody who understands the value of knowing how to meet people anytime, anywhere, and realizing that your net worth is your network, okay? When you know everybody, what winds up happening? You make more cash, you're happier, and you wind up raising the vibe for everybody. It's an incredible skill. Well, what I've done is a lot of people have asked me about these trainings, and so I created a brand new website. It's actually brand new, with a very, very deep video that's really shocking. It's a shocking video. It's kind of an intense video where I go very, very deep on what it is that this looks like. Like, imagine meeting up with me personally and going out and doing this. It's a shocking, crazy experience. And on the website, in the video, I show exactly what it is that you can expect. It's really crazy. So if you want to see this, click the link below. And if you think that you're somebody that has what it takes, because this is not for everybody, and you've got to actually add value to the group, okay? In a situation like this, you can't be a leech. You've got to be someone who's bringing energy and is serious about results. If you think that that's you, fill out the form right on the website, and what I'll do is come and meet up with you in person, and we're going to learn this together. But again, that's only if you're the right fit. If you think that that's you, you click the link below, and we'll be sitting out here together doing this and change your life. Anyway, click the link, and back to the video. Okay, so he says, for the next year and a half, and this was after Hannibal had come through the mountain epically, Hannibal, even though he was always outnumbered, met one Roman army after another and routed them all in a crescendo of victories, each more crushing than the last. In his greatest battle, named Cannae or something like that, after the location of a nearby Roman grain depot, Hannibal killed some 70,000 Romans in a single day, roughly as many as the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima killed on the day of its explosion more than 2,000 years later. But this was not high-tech warfare in which the pilot opened a bomb bay above anonymous victims. This was the slow and manual killing with sword cuts and thrusts, spear gashes, broken necks, and crushed skulls. Hannibal, with his most genius maneuver, surrounded the Romans and turned that plain of Cannae into a shallow lake of blood, clotted with heaps of limbs and corpses. So, this probably makes you want to read it. He goes on to explain how basically Hannibal was triumph. He embodied it as Hercules personified strength and Odysseus cunning. Hannibal's striking face, with one eye gnarled shut and blind from some weird disease pronunciation, caught in an Italian swamp the previous years, was the face of victory and success. Then he says, and then something odd began to unfold. Somehow the war was not over. Despite their litany of defeats, the Romans did not surrender. Hannibal, despite his string of astonishing, even legendary victories, could not impose his will. He remained in Italy for another 14 years, and although he stayed unbeaten during this entire time, he never conquered Rome. His triumphs turned out to be, in a word, imposters. So that being the case, okay, what is the theme here? The theme is you look at your life and something seems awesome. So for example, you get a big win. But as a result of the big win, much in the way that Carthage didn't follow up and finish the job, you can actually become a little bit too relaxed and wind up screwing yourself over. Basically what he's talking about here is that something can seem like a victory in the short term, but in the long term, over the arc of your entire life, is not necessarily a success. And the gist of what I'm trying to get across to you here is that anytime that you have what you think is a success, the consequence is that your DNA, okay, the part of your body that's basically just like not your conscious will, but just is unconscious, starts to say, hey dude, it's time to relax. And you can see this with guys like, say, Eddie Murphy, where he does the comedies Delirious and Raw, and he's just crushing it. And then you kind of see what happens to him as he gets older. He is swamped in success, and the result of that is actually failure. There's another great book, which is called Financial Reckoning Day, and it goes into these themes. It says, nothing creates failure like success, okay? Nothing fails like success. Essentially, as you have success, the things that you did become harder to keep doing. You've reached a comfort zone, it's hard to keep going, and you wind up failing. And that's actually another great book that I'd recommend reading on this exact same topic, Financial Reckoning Day. So two of my favorite books. I just wanted to lead in with it. I thought that you might find it interesting, and thank you for indulging in my oral reading skills there. But basically, what I want to crack into now, after that little introduction, is my idea and passion for this topic of long game motivation. Okay, so we're going to crack into this, actually, funny enough, by talking about a convergence of different factors that hit me in my late 20s and early 30s that caused long game motivation, as I said, success over an arc of your entire life, to become pretty much an obsession, okay? Literally to the point where I obsessed over this for several years, and this is kind of my first time talking about it in great detail today. The first one, and you're going to kind of laugh at these, was actually watching a basketball analysis done by Charles Barkley, where he was talking about one of my favorite players at the time from the Lakers named Lamar Odom, who had been the sixth man of the year. And what Charles Barkley said was that after Lamar had kind of fallen off his game, he was never going to come back. Now, I remember Charles Barkley, he said, he's like, look, Lamar's done. This guy's not coming back. And they said, why don't you think Lamar can come back? It's only just a couple months bad into his season. He won sixth man of the year last year. And Charles Barkley said, look, to play in the NBA at an elite level, you have to have a certain momentum. And when you're done, you're done. So I heard that and I was like, nah, I don't believe that shit. Lamar's coming back, baby. Lamar's coming back. You know, even though he'd gone to the Dallas Mavericks, I'm not a Mavericks fan, I'm a Lakers fan. But, you know, I figured he must be coming back. I figured that Charles Barkley was just being arrogant. But sure enough, Lamar actually never came back. And that's not to say he still might not come back. But it was just interesting that Charles Barkley called that. And I didn't believe it at the time, but I sort of just kept it in my head as something that I couldn't understand. And anytime that I can't fully understand something, I try to just make a note of it and keep it in my head to sort of solve the puzzle of why somebody thought that. And that was kind of something that I did. So later, and I think it was around the same year, or you know, maybe a little earlier or later, I don't totally remember, I was reading a book by a guy named Felix Dennis. And it was called The Narrow Road, How to Get Rich, or something like that. Okay, basically talking about how success is a narrow road. And that title was actually one of the inspirations for one of the favorite videos that I did that I called The Narrow Road. So basically what Felix Dennis said is he said, look, once you're 35, you're done. You've got to find someone who's younger to provide the motivation. And again, you know, I think I was like in my early 30s reading this and I was like, what? dude, no. Like, no, dude, when I'm 35, I don't need some younger guy to provide the motivation. I'm a self-motivated individual. I can do whatever I put my mind to. I don't accept that. I don't believe that I couldn't do it myself. Why would this guy who, made billions of dollars and was an owner of Maxim magazine, why would he be saying that if you're over 35, you can't come back? It just doesn't make sense. Another huge factor in this actually for me was watching different mentors of mine, people who I idolize and look up to. And, even to this day, I remember them as they were, but basically watching them fall off. It was very, very strange to watch that. I mean, guys who I just looked up to in many different ways. And like I said, we'll always look up to them. But just watching them kind of go soft, so to speak, right? You just sort of see them going soft. And I'd be like, why is that guy going soft? Where's his inspiration? Where's his motivation? Where's his drive? I don't understand. And then finally, and this was kind of the big one for me, was as I hit into my early 30s, no longer being motivated by money or getting laid just because my situation was just so sorted out, watching myself as that intense drive to be successful started to wane a little bit. So, say that you build a business and your business is functioning well, or say that you built a harem of girls and you're getting laid whenever you want, just kind of noticing how your mind sort of disengages. You're not as how could you put it? I guess like driven, like you don't have that same chip on your shoulder. You're more chill. And interestingly, I think it can be good to be chill. You want to get chill as you age. You don't want to just walk around trying to prove yourself all the time. But at the same time, there's something to be said for having a chip on your shoulder, right? And keeping that chip on your shoulder. And the reason why I became especially fascinated with this was because I realized if I can keep that chip on my shoulder for many, many years, especially doing the type of work that I do where it's not athletic, but it's mental, if I could keep that drive, that engagement, that chip on my shoulder for many, many years, the things that I could accomplish in my older age could be almost limitless. So these were just different things that got me thinking about it. Just seeing that the Charles Barkley call on Lamar Odom, that bizarre comment by Felix Dennis about how once you're 35, you need younger people to provide the motivation. I couldn't understand that. And again, just sort of seeing different mentors of mine falling off, looking at different rock stars that I thought that were amazing falling off and thinking, why wouldn't that rock star skill just keep building over time? And then just seeing my own motivation diminish at certain times. Just basically realizing that you could be as motivated as you want, but essentially there's actually things that you're going to have to do if you want to stay motivated over the long term. Okay, so we're gonna crack into 4 of my favorite concepts here, and that's what I'm gonna call engagement, critical mass, I'm back baby, and would versus could. Okay, so let's start with engagement. Okay, what is engagement? I want you to think of it like your mind is basically made out of DNA, and your DNA will not allow your mind to engage unless it actually sees a point. So what is the biggest enemy of your mind engaging? Cash and vagina, okay? As soon as you have too much cash, or as soon as you have too much vagina, your brain is saying, dude, no more expenditure of energy. Just chill the fuck out. It's all fucking good, okay? And here's where it gets even crazier. Do you think that your thoughts are yours? Let me ask that again. Do you think that your thoughts are yours? In other words, when you're having a thought, do you think that's you making the thought? No, sir, no, sir, no, sir, okay? You are the present awareness behind the thoughts, as they would say in Eastern philosophy. The thoughts are actually just fucking rationalizations that are being created by your mind. So for example, when you have too much money and too much vagina, I know you're thinking 99% of people, and you might be one of them, is watching this thinking, actually, I could use more money. I could use more vaginas. That's why I'm watching this, dude. I don't want to hear you gloat at me. But this is for advanced people that I'm creating this video. So look, when you have too much money or too much vagina, which if you actually follow the shit I'm teaching you, will be the case soon enough, the big enemy is your mind creating these thoughts like, dude, just chill. Life's about just relaxing. That's what fun is. Fun is relaxing. Enjoy the money and vaginas. That's the meaning of life, to enjoy money and vaginas. And then you just take the cash and you take the vaginas and you fuck the vaginas and you spend the cash and your mind is not engaging. Now, This is really, really scary that your DNA is doing this to you. But why does it happen? Well, if you just understand biology, you could even look at, like, say, plant biology. I remember once I went to the big island of Hawaii, and I get there and I'm like, this place looks kind of like Africa. And sure enough, one of the tour guides, she told me, well, actually, some people in the 1800s brought some African plants over, and those plants are like these, have these killer roots in it that go and attack the fucking local Hawaiian plants that are all nice and sweet to each other, and basically took over like 20% of the island. So like something like 20% of the big island of Hawaii is fucking Africa, okay, by a certain way of looking at it, at least. Why did that happen? Well, in Africa, everything's fucking pushing against each other. So like animals will start to develop poison and horns and scales and teeth and defense mechanisms and speed and fighting skills. But see, in Hawaii, it's so fucking peaceful. Everyone gets along with each other. The plants get along and the fucking animals get along and shit. Apparently, it was even Europeans that brought mosquitoes over. So you could imagine that, you know, if this is true what I heard, there wasn't even mosquitoes on this place. It was fucking paradise. But again, the problem is when a harsher element gets brought into the equation, like one from Africa, it gets in there and it's just like that, right? And I can definitely relate to that because I do pick up in Hollywood, California. Okay, Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. And when I go to a more peaceful place and I see these like little sweet guys in these peaceful cities, they're like, hi there. And I'm like, is that your prom queen girlfriend? Well, guess what? I come from fucking Hollywood, right? And my mind's just like this, right? And the girl's just on me like deer in the headlights. This confused, poor little alpha male from the smaller city can't figure out how this guy's doing this with this girl. And I don't do that intentionally. These are just things that happen when you go out to nightclubs and they're there. Well, you know, I've seen that effect. Basically, it's the you know, the big fish in the small pond effect. And if you're not playing in the big pond, you become the big fish in the small pond, and eventually there's consequences to that, okay? So probably when I even say things like, you know, the point of life is not to bask in money and pussy, you're thinking, well, why not, dude? What you're saying to me is not agreeing with me at all. And I get that, and that's what I would have thought back in the day too. But actually, again, look what happened when the African plants got brought to Hawaii. It just took over because they were adapted to the harsher environment, okay? So what I would tell you is that the nature of all life is it minimizes the expenditure of time and energy. And if it doesn't have a lot pushing on it, it just won't fight back. So think about that and think about what you want to become. Now, does that mean that you want to spend your whole life like fighting and fucking grinding it out? Not necessarily, but see, what I would tell you is this. And I want to basically tell you a story about this. Okay, so I myself have actually lost my feeling of engagement at times. And when that's happened to me, for example, one time would be like when I moved to Hawaii right before the recession. So I actually moved to Hawaii myself. I became like a Hawaiian plant. And I'm having sex with my girlfriend in front of an apartment on the ocean. And we're doing product launches. This is back when DVDs were big. And, you know, I think we made the Inc. 5000 that year. And life was pretty good. So basically I was just working a lot and having sex, and company was doing well. And finally the economic recession kicked in. And the way that I've always run RSD is anytime that we have extra money, I just pump it back into the company. So I try to run it on very, very thin margins. I know that sounds ridiculous and you'll probably have a lot of feedback for me for why I shouldn't do that. But that's actually just how I've always chosen to run RSD. So it's a very educated decision. So anytime I have more cash, I want to pump it back in the company. So we were operating on very thin margins. And even though you always say me being like, fuck communism, I hate communism, actually one of the reasons why you'll hear me saying that is because I do believe in giving back, but I want to do it because it's my choice. And so a thing that I used to do back then was I would way overpay my staff. Like there'd be guys just like sending out text messages for meetings, and these guys are getting paid like full salaries and things like that. Because again, I view them as family. But you know, the reason I dislike communism is because I want to make the choice to do that. I don't want someone making me make the choice to do that. So that's just me, and we don't need to get into politics, and you can feel free to disagree. Absolutely doesn't take away from what you're gonna learn today in this vid. So that being the case, when the recession hit, I remember I had been not very active in the field for about 3 years, and all of a sudden I realized I want to go back to doing boot camp again, okay, because our company was doing poorly. So I started doing boot camps again on the weekends, and had to get my game back. Oh my God. That was the hardest thing I ever did. During that 3 years, yeah, I'd still been going out a little bit here and there, but I wasn't grinding it out in Hollywood nightclubs, okay? I was just going to little local Hawaiian bars, doing a little local Hawaiian day game. All of a sudden, I'm grinding it out back in Manhattan, grinding it out back in Los Angeles, and I'm in a lot of pain, okay? It was incredible pain. And what I realized was that by me being quote unquote successful, okay, having made it living in Hawaii at that time before the recession kicked in. If that recession never kicked in, I would have just been set permanently. I had basically disengaged, okay? My mind would no longer engage. And it was really rather depressing, to tell you the truth. What I also realized was that no, just being smothered in vagina and money is not life's greatest happiness. Life's greatest happiness is being out here, doing shit, being engaged, feeling your mind engage. Your mind is lying to you, okay? You will get much greater happiness by being engaged and active in life than you will by being disengaged. This is one of the reasons why senior citizens just die off a lot of the time after they stop working, okay? They disengage too much. Doesn't mean you can't retire, but when you retire, you want to have other activities that you're doing to stay engaged. When, you know, retirement can just mean retirement from life. So that's actually what happened to me, okay? I basically got disengaged during that period off, and I realized that it was miserable. Well, then I got re-engaged again, started going out again, hustling, teaching programs, doing free tours, built the hot seat, built the summit, all this different stuff, got my game to an epic level, incredible, and I was the happiest that I'd ever been. But then I got to a point where, again, you know, we're crushing it again, everything's going well, smothered in money and vagina, everything's good, and all of a sudden, I'm finding that life kind of sucks because my mind won't engage. And I had experiences like where I'd get some new girl, smoking hot, like, you know, the kind of girl where you wouldn't be feeling too sorry for me. And again, this is, I don't know how to say this without coming across as gloating, but in this one case, I've got this one girl who's just so smoking fucking hot. And I've got her in my house, I'm just fucking the shit out of her, maybe like, I don't know, 9 hours a day, just like fuck her for like half an hour, come, sleep for 20 minutes, get back up, roll her, fuck her for a bit, sleep for 20 minutes, going through that experience. And I literally had an experience there where I would just have sex with the best girl I'd ever been fucking my entire life. The sex was epic, squirter, just incredible. And then I would basically just go eat in nice restaurants, chill, and I thought my life was good. But what I discovered was that my life was actually the most miserable it had ever been, okay? Misery. Let me make this clear. By having sex, the hottest woman that I had ever pulled, in my opinion, and probably pulled hotter like in other people's opinion, but just by my taste, and fucking her all the time, and having all the money handled and just basically chilling and doing that for several months, honestly, it felt like several months of my life oozed by with no recollection of it. There was no growth. If anything, there was regression, okay? I was regressing, and I was absolutely fucking miserable. Eventually I dumped her, then would crawl back to her, dumped her again, would crawl back to her, finally dumped her for good. Again, just seeing how disengaged I was and how she was facilitating that. It wasn't her fault. And basically went back on the grind hard, got my game back killer, started working hard again and loved it, okay? And then I actually went through another experience with that again after and fell into the same pattern with another girl. And again, amazing girl, and she's totally down to support me, totally down to help me work, down to help me go out and pull threesomes, but I'm like, nah, let's just chill, duh. And again, had to push myself out of it. So I want to be very clear here. Vagina and money, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? It's a base level. If you've got no money, if you've got no vagina, life fucking sucks, okay? And I feel sorry for you. It is miserable, I get that. But there's actually another level of misery where you have what you want, and now you have become disengaged, okay? And so what I actually want to put forward to you is the idea of critical mass. And this is the next concept I want to put forward, okay? So critical mass, what is that? Critical mass is basically the idea that you think that it's you who's doing shit, but it's partially you and partially the DNA. And the DNA will only engage your mind when it feels like it has to. And so to create critical mass, you actually have to deliberately put yourself into situations that will trigger your brain to wake up and get you engaged. And again, when you're awake and you're engaged, it's the most blissful feeling in the world. It's what I live for. It is fucking mental coming. It's the shit. Fuck money. Fuck pussy. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like air or some base level shit that you need. It is not the peak of happiness. If you've been told this by advertising, it's not true. The peak of happiness is an engagement, okay? I cannot even believe that I fell for that fucking trap several different times. What the fuck was I thinking? Valuable years of my life gone and wasted, sitting around rubbing my cock in a hole, eating like a piece of mold. It is fucking garbage, okay? It's just a base level thing. You should have it. If you don't have it, that's pathetic. But again, it's the base level shit. It's like having a house. It's not like you just get the house, you're like, I'm in my house. I'm in my house. No. Like, if you don't have a house, you think that having a house is the shit. Then you have the house, and then you got the fucking house. It's the same thing with money and pussy, okay? So fuck that noise, all right? So basically, you want to think of it like you have to trigger your mind in the long term that once you get the success, you find ways to get your brain to re-engage, okay? You have to find the ways to do that. And the last point that I'm going to get at while we're just sitting right here is the idea of I'm back, baby. And here's what it is. You think when you stop and you lose your momentum that you can just come back. No. Charles Barkley was right. Felix Dennis was right. And this video is going to have mountains of comments disagreeing. Say what you want. I'm very firmly in my belief about this. Once you're done, you're fucking done, okay? Again, once you're done, you're done. I said this in another video. A lot of people are like, that's not true. A lot of people come back. There's examples of people at 50 that build businesses. Those are the fucking outliers, okay? Don't base your plans off what an outlier did, okay? But then can you be the outlier? You're not going to be the outlier, okay? Come back in 20 years. We'll see what happened to you. You're not going to be the fucking outlier. You're just going to be fucked, okay? You're going to be another person who gave up their dreams. Your eyes lose that spark. You get ground into your face is ground into the dirt by life, and you're just fucking in a daze, and then you just die, and that's how you're going to wind up. So basically, no. People will say, I'm back, baby. So-and-so goes, I'm back. So-and-so is back. He's back. He's back. He's not coming back. You're not coming back, okay? I came back from the dead several times, only when the following happened. An economic downturn that was in the same range as the Great Depression. Then I came back, and I came back stronger than ever. And basically because the other way that I came back was through the misery of remembering what it was like. But really, you know who brought me back? It was my friends who I saw on that level. But most people watching this video, probably yourself, don't have friends on that level. See, I do. So I would see what my friends that were engaged look like, and how happy they were, and blissful and engaged, and just amazing they were. And I'd see that. But I couldn't remember it. And what's crazy, now here's where it gets really intense, and this is the scariest part of the whole thing. This is fucking scary, okay? This is like some scary fucking, like, middle of the fucking forest in the dark, scary type shit that I'm gonna say to you. Okay, once your mind gets hooked into a certain personality, because I've talked about this before, we have different personality matrices up in our heads. Once a certain personality starts to run the fucking show, it becomes cancerous, and it will do anything to stay there. So if that, like, let's chill and relax personality gets the fucking wheel, it's over, okay? It's fucking over. It's cancer. You're gonna have to root that cancer out of yourself. Here's why. What's gonna happen to you is before, when you used to wake up, you woke up saying, fuck it, the day's starting. How am I gonna fucking dominate today? What am I gonna get done? What am I gonna accomplish? How am I gonna own this shit? It's gonna be fucking awesome, okay? You start the day like that. But what starts to happen instead is you wake up and you say, how am I gonna titillate myself today? How am I gonna enjoy the day? What am I gonna do to relax, right? And then you're like, how can I spend money? In what way can I fuck my girlfriend? See, this is all fine in moderation, but again, life is about moderation. Work hard, play hard. Not just play hard, relax, like that, okay? And the basic gist of it being, if once that cancerous fucking self, that personality takes the wheel, you will literally forget what engagement feels like. Let me say this again, okay? This is some serious shit, okay? I don't take myself a little seriously here, but this is some personal shit. I've been through this shit, okay? It's some pretty serious shit. Once you forget what it's like to be engaged, you are like a fucking hamster stuck in a hamster cage that doesn't remember the epic fucking wilderness of hamsterism, okay, of hamster life, okay? It's like you're a gorilla trapped in a fucking zoo cage and you don't remember what it is like to be free, to dominate, to fight, okay, to have a chip on your shoulder. You forget what that's like. You can't remember anymore. And what happens is that because that chilled out fucking self has got the wheel from you and you don't have the wheel anymore, you go back to doing some of the shit you used to do before and you're like, motherfucker, I was crazy. How the fuck did I ever even do that? Like, was I doing that? No. Going out 7 days a week? That's crazy. Craziness. Working hard, building a business? Craziness. What was I thinking? I didn't know how to relax. I was too uptight. Okay? Right, I'll look in this video right now, right? But it's something I'm passionate about. So you literally forget, and what happens is almost like when someone goes crazy and they lose sight of reality, and the further that they get from reality, the more rationalizations that they have to create in order to justify that set of beliefs, and to get back to center, to get back to the narrow road, they would have to unwire all these stupid, like life is about chilling, like all this shit, pull it all out, admit that they wasted months or years of their life to come back to the narrow fucking road. And most people simply don't do that. Again, this is like a different approach to self-development than I've seen in a lot of other self-development teacher shit. I just think that you have to take a frame like this. Rather than thinking you can be whatever you want to be and you can do whatever you want, you should actually think of life like, no, there's scarcity of opportunity. There's a lot more abundance of opportunity than the average unthinking masses person thinks, who thinks he's got to hoard everything and fucking like that. But you should also view it like there's a scarcity of opportunity. When you see it, you fucking take it. You should view it like there's certain benchmarks that you should be reaching at different years of your life, and you need to aggressively reach those benchmarks by the time that you reach a certain age based on your energy levels. Okay, you got to be thinking like that. It's like thinking like growing a tree, right? If a tree's small and supple, you could put it into like a weird braid and grow it up like that. But if it's too hard, it's pretty hard to shift around that tree. It's not going to be whatever it wants. It's going to be what it is because it's rigid, okay? So the way that I like to think about long game motivation is you have to be coming from a frame that if you fuck up and you fall too far off that road, you may never come back. You're probably not coming back. And again, a lot of people hearing this will say, oh my God, I don't want to believe that, because they're off the narrow road and they don't want to believe they couldn't come back. Well, what I'd say in that case is take it as a massive negative incentive, like disincentive, or take it as a massive stick as opposed to a carrot to get your ass back now. The further that you go down that road, the harder that it is to come back. I have seen, just by doing RSD and doing business, so many people saying, I'm back, baby, I'm back, baby. What they don't realize, like I said, motivation is a blessing. Certain factors have to trigger your mind to become engaged. And this is where I would leave you with, which is the difference between would and could. There's all this shit you could do, but would you do it? Look, dude, you could do anything, but would you? Okay, let me make this clear. You could do anything, but would you? Again, you could do this, you could do that. But would you? Dude, where is it, dude? Where's the shit? Where's all the shit that you could have done up till now that you didn't do? Okay, where's it at? It's the fucking ethereal, man. It's not here. So the way that you want to think about it is like your brain, you think you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. But rather realize that basically you are a piece of DNA. The DNA has this agenda to save time and energy, and once you've gotten to a point of comfort, it's probably going to try to keep you there. Okay, that's the nature of all life. You have to think of it like you got to keep on the narrow road. You got to keep yourself engaged. You got to realize that engagement is happiness. Money and vagina is not the essence of happiness. It's not, okay? The essence of happiness is staying engaged. That's happiness. I know I don't look happy right now, but again, I went through some serious fucking shit to come to these realizations. Okay? I've been through some shit to come to these conclusions. And yeah, basically just realize that you're not coming back. And, you know, if you are gone, fine, fucking claw and fight to get back. I'm not saying not to. Don't use it as a more justification not to come back. But if you see yourself veering off, get your ass back on now. Don't come from the frame that you could reverse anytime. You can't, okay? Look for examples of people that never came back. Realize that you're going to be one of them, and continually realize it's not what you could do, it's what you actually would do. And you need to continually trigger your mind to find new sources of long game motivation. Anyway, so as you can probably see, it's actually a pretty significant issue to me. Definitely has caused me a lot of pain and frustration. And probably the reason why is because I literally felt my dreams being ripped away from me. And not just ripped away from me by somebody else, but scary enough, being ripped away from me by myself, by my own DNA, not wanting to engage, by me losing that chip on my shoulder and whatnot. And I think that's almost the scariest way to have your dreams robbed from you. Not by someone taking them from you, which, you know, you could almost like, you know, pinpoint your anger in that kind of situation, but literally being taken from you by you, and by this insidious laziness and this insidious rationalization. And again, just to really emphasize, the ultimate rationalization is the media-fueled idea that happiness is found in money and pussy, or just laziness, chilling, relaxing, when in reality, you want to think of more of a model of expansion and contraction. So work, that's the expansion. And then contraction is relaxing, right? And relaxing is great. Lying around fucking all day is great. I like to take vacations where I'll just fuck all day for 4 or 5 days at a time. And that's an amazing vacation. You come back ready to expand, right? But the reason why I think it is so much fueled in the media that just getting to relax is the shit is because most people are just overworked with jobs that they hate. They're not finding their passion. And for them, getting to numb themselves from that, that's their version of happiness. And that's why people think, you know, getting high is the ultimate happiness, or not having to do shit is the ultimate happiness, because they don't like what they're doing. But when you're passionate about what you're doing, That's just where you're gonna find your happiness, okay? And so what you have to do in life is find that thing that you love, whether it's a game, like the pickup stuff, whether or not it's your journey or your passion in life, your purpose, whatever it is, and that could be a whole separate video, the idea of how to find your purpose. But basically, to be happy, you wanna find that thing that when you do it, nothing makes you happier. And absolutely, you wanna take breaks from it, you wanna relax, you wanna sit in a nice restaurant, just go, earn this, right? Or sit on a nice vacation, I earned this. You wanna just be fucking a girl all day or fucking two girls all day, just, I earned these girls. You know what I'm saying, right? You wanna be able to do that, absolutely. But fundamentally, to me, the real happiness when life is just like fucking coming, okay, is boom, okay, it's the explosion out, okay, that's what I love. That's why I love to fuck girls, bang, just fucking blast, right? That's the fun. And absolutely, relaxing can be a great thing, but don't fall for the societal hypnosis that having stuff or being lazy or having status is the shit, because it's not, okay? Your passion is the shit. You are the shit. Your existence is the shit, and I'll absolutely promise you that. Now, we'll kind of wrap this by actually looking at Michael Jordan's retirement speech, and he had actually kind of a shocking retirement speech to me, but if you go look it up online, you can really see what we're talking about here. And basically what Michael Jordan talks about in detail is how he found the motivation. And part of it was from petty motivations, like when he's 16 and he got cut from the college or the high school basketball team. I think that was 16. Or other times when an owner frustrated him, or just different challenges that he had. But he had to keep finding a way to find the motivation. And in a lot of ways, what made Michael Jordan wasn't just skill, wasn't just his inner game, but actually was his ability to summon long game motivation. So again, long game motivation is the realization that you're not just who you are, okay? What you could do is not what you would do, okay? Michael Jordan had the seed to win those 6 championships, but the question is, would he do it? And he was someone who made himself do that. Maybe he could have even done more, who knows? So realize that rather than thinking of yourself as this person with this potential, think of yourself almost again like an element that has to gain like a critical mass, and you have to put yourself into situations that motivate you, that trigger you to want to explode out. It has to trigger your DNA to say, okay, we're going to give him the fuel and the focus to engage. All right. And actually, you know, let's actually wrap actually with another example. And this is something I find twisted. And that's actually mainstream level icons or celebrities. You see a lot of these people, various actors, musicians, politicians, whatever it is, you know, many different icons. And they get to a point of celebrity where they're just so famous and they look so badass for what they've done that they've achieved that, and you just see them become shells of their former selves. And literally to me, that is like hell on earth, where you have become a shell of your former self. This is very different from just the natural softening process of aging, right? As you age, you do want to tone it down. You do want to gear down because there's just less there, okay? There's less going on, okay? But at the same time, you also want to harden in other places, especially mentally in certain types of focus. So you lose things with age, but you also want to gain things with age. You don't want to just lose and then become a shell of your former self. So living in Los Angeles, I could honestly tell you, I've seen many different celebrities that are considered A-list celebrities, and I've had the chance to talk to them or hang out with them. And it's like talking in a lot of ways to an empty shell. And it's really, really frightening to see what that is like. And you could even see it with shows like, say, Entourage, right? Where you see like in his final season, it just doesn't have the same as it does in his earlier seasons. You know, that was a favorite show of mine. I remember just looking at the final season of the show, and I loved it, because I love any Entourage, frankly, even bad Entourage, I still love it. Any Entourage is good Entourage. But just looking at it, it's like, this is a shell of its former self. It's not as tight. And so what I want you to think of people as is, look at them not just as human beings, but look at them almost in a way where it's like, are they like this, or are they kind of loose, right? Are they condensed in, or are they loose? And not loose in the good way, like, you know, the supple leopard a la Kelly Starrett. But who are they as far as their ability to engage their mind? Who are they as far as their ability to generate their own emotions, to focus, to be clear of their intention, to execute, to get things done, to enjoy life, to laugh, all these different things? Who are they? And to ask yourself, who do you want to become? Life is a journey, okay? You get an initial victory, it seems like a victory, but what if that victory is in fact a failure? What if success is in fact your biggest loss? Nothing fails like success. Success tightens in and then creates the loosening out. Realize that. when you get a success, what you think of as a win could actually be your biggest loss. So realize that as you gain your wins, yes, you will relax and focus, expand and contract, and that's a good thing. But simultaneously realize that you have to set yourself up for an entire life of success, and that when success either comes too quickly, or when success can come too easily, or when success comes without having some kind of other grander vision or grander purpose behind it, that can create a lot of problems. But on the flip side, what you can have is a lifetime of winning, okay? You can have a lifetime of just amazing, amazing experiences, and that will come with setting up an entire life of long game motivation. So I said a lot here. It's a very passionate topic of mine. I'm not really sure how I've come across in saying this. There's probably a lot of dickhead shit that I've said in this. Probably a lot of people find this rubbed them the wrong way. Maybe there's a better ways I could phrase this. I don't know. I just said it how I see it, okay? And trying to relay some of my experiences. To me, scariest thing in life, just becoming a shell of your former self, super scary. Aging is aging. I want to soften. I want to chill as I age, but I want to do it in the right way. And to me, that is what a very successful life would look like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. As you can see, it's getting very dark and spooky out here. I've seen a couple Sasquatches run around, so I don't know if I want to chill for that. Time to go home, and I will definitely be back with you with a lot more ideas and information coming soon. So I'll look forward to seeing you again. Peace.